September 12th, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on a 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. It was actually the volume was there, but it was a slow meandering day. There weren't very many setups. I did identify two and I tried to take one, but I missed it. And overall it was a no trade day for me. The only economic data that came out today was at around 7 o'clock Pacific Standard, which is about right here. Didn't really do too much. It was the consumer sentiment. And I want to point out something pretty interesting. Although this is what the total chart looked like over 6.5 hours, if you look at the ES, this is the U25, which is the contracts that are expiring next Friday. You can see the volume is still operating in the after hours. It's like pretty high. But then you can look at the Z contracts, which is the next rollover one, and they're actually a good 1/2 to about 40% of the total volume that was traded. That's because a lot of traders are moving contracts over. Probably on Monday, most people will start trading the Z contracts, and anybody left over on the U contracts are probably just moving over their positions. So you're going to see a shift in volume starting with the Z contracts starting to take a higher portion of the trading. Now, I'm not saying that's what contributed, but certainly that doesn't help. I also want to point out that next week is also FOMC rate decision. And usually the Monday and Tuesday before that, because the rate decision comes on Wednesday, is going to be very slow because a lot of people are sitting on their hands. So I anticipate Monday and Tuesday probably going to be also pretty boring. So I don't know if I'm going to even try to trade those. I might just trade for a few hours and then probably just shut it down. So I'm going to get into the setups right now. There weren't very many. As you can see, it was a very slow day. Let's try to go through this quickly. There's a push down, break, and another push down. So it looks like it has two legs, then a precipitous drop. There's a spike and then a narrow channel going up, break, test the high, came down on this orange down channel, and it hit the sideways consolidation. As it was going through the sideways consolidation, there's really no setup. I mean, you could find second entries by the technical count, but that doesn't mean it's a setup. So it's just very hard to trade, very tight trading range. And as if you look at the total range of the day, if you actually look at the absolute highs and absolute lows, is 65.76 to about 66.07. So this is about 30 points, but I would say most of the price action happened right here at 65.86 to roughly about 65.96. So this is only 10 points of trading. The total span of mostly just 10 points. I mean, maybe 10 to 12, but you could arguably say it's just 10. And the ATR was very low. So it just made trading very tight, very hard to find good, clean, safe setups, even for a 1 point scalp. So it looks like it was two legs down. You have a new low. It's a first entry short pullback, second entry short. I call this an almost trade. The thing that I do like about it is it moved and broke above the previous and engulfed it completely with a strong push and close at the bottom, near the bottom. But the EMA is starting to flatten out. When you see this in real time, it's hard to really know what's going on because it looks like this is what you see. It's hard to really trust it's going to push down further because there is a potential triple test, but it doesn't really yield much. It's just really tight trading right now. You could say there's one leg sideways consolidation, second leg, but it's not very clean. So I left it alone. When prices continue moving, it starts moving up what I think is this trend line support, turned into a channel, but I don't really trust it yet. So I just didn't color it in. It's a new high, it's a first entry long. Pullback, technically you have a second entry long inside bar though. And both of these are actually inside to this guy, which wasn't a very convincing bullish candle. Inside bar, finally presses up. So you don't know that's going to happen. Hits a high, comes back down really quickly. It looks like it was bouncing off the high side of this blue rectangle. So I'm just going to go zoom out real quick. This blue rectangle is because I couldn't fully identify if this was the support or later this was the support. So I just knew if prices came into this blue rectangle to get ready to see if there's going to be a bounce. And it kind of worked out that way, but it's hard to trust if it was going to bounce off of here or bounce off of here. So it starts moving up this really choppy clear channel, moves down to this red down channel. So it's technically a first entry long pullback, second entry long right here. I thought this is actually a possible trade because it's actually a break of the green down channel, break of the green up channel, pushes up. When you see this in real time, it's a pretty decent setup because it ticked below the previous and closed strongly. It's about to break through the EMA, but the EMA, as I said, isn't super reliable right now. This red down channel could break and test the low, but I was wondering if it was going to test the support which I had drawn like this. Then later I dragged it down to here. So it became more of a support region instead of a support line. So I wanted a pretty much a higher low above the EMA to clearly define and show me that prices were going to move up. If prices move up, you don't really get a higher low. It kind of just keeps meandering. It's the sideways consolidation again. You can find second entries by the technical count, but doesn't mean it's a good trade. Bunch of dojis, congested, pushes up and out. This breaks the pre-market high. New high, first entry long, pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long here. Seeing this in real time, this doesn't convince me to take a long position or get ready. I want a higher low now, but I do know it's a potential fail breakout, potential push back into this I guess consolidation trading range region, which isn't fully defined yet. Bounces. Technically, he goes visual, first entry long pullback, second entry long. I don't like this inside bar, and it's just kind of bouncing off of nowhere. Presses down, looks like it's moving down this yellow down channel. There's a small break here, first entry short, and that's all you get. And then there's a multiple test here because I saw it broke below this initial support area. All right, so I was interrupted briefly. I kind of forgot where I was talking about, but I do know, since this is where the chart is, there was a multiple test here, but as I said, it was hard to know if, because I was originally trading the highs, potentially this high as a support, and it turned out this looked like it worked pretty well as a support down here. Multiple tests, not a good signal bar, but it is within potentially this yellow trading range, but I had to kind of pass on it. Clearly didn't know it was going to spike up like this, looking for a higher low. Prices then push up. And then this is actually a trade I tried to take because it hit a low. It looks like it was inside this yellow down channel. It was a break. Kind of tighten this up. Add something closer to this. It looks like there was a break here and a break here. Break on this side created somewhat of a symmetrical break here. There's a new low. First entry short, pull back, and it creates a hidden second entry short right here. First entry short pushes up, pushes back down, second entry short. I tried to take this trade, but I wanted to break below this guy. Once it broke, I dropped in my order at the lows of this guy. It flushed down. I thought I was going to miss the trade, so I actually moved it one tick below this guy. It kept going, and it moved at that 1 point scalp that I wanted, so I decided I needed to abandon the trade, so I did. So it ended up being a miss. But as you can see, if I did chase it further, or if I was going for 2 points and actually got filled, this likely would have stopped me out. Actually, this candle. So I look back on it and I kind of analyze it and look at it. Did I miss something? And seeing this in real time, I thought it was a good trade, or I thought it would have been a good trade. The only risk is it is an engulfing bar. This isn't the best signal bar, and it is a hidden second entry short. So if it worked for, it would have worked for 1 point scalp. I got in where I originally wanted to get in, but if I waited for 2 points, I probably would have gotten stopped out. So probably better that I didn't get the trade, even if it would have been profitable. When prices continue moving up, looks like it's moving up this green up channel. Hits this area, which I think is a resistance area, but it's not the pre-market resistance. Pushes down, breaks, tests the high. This green up channel is technically tested the high. This yellow down channel, I'm not really sure if it's going to come back down and test the lows. Starts coming back down. EMA is starting to curl up. So it starts pushing up. And when it forms this candle, that's where I drew this potential blue trend line. And then I later turned it into a channel. So blue trend line actually had something like this. And then I put this arbitrarily at the top as a channel. And I'm just watching and waiting. No clean second entries. This is just congested. Pushes up and out of this blue channel. Kind of chops sideways. Technically, you have a new high here. You have a first entry long, but it just came right after this gigantic drop down. Pushes up and out, so there's no second entries. It's just kind of meandering here. First entry long, I'm looking for a second entry long, ideally with a bounce off the EMA. This could have been a candidate, but it's wrong color signal bar, so I don't have an order ready. Pushes down, definitely waiting now. Pushes down further. I don't think there's a long trade here anymore. Plus, I was thinking this is a break of my blue up channel. Overshoot, I can expect probably 2 legs down, maybe a symmetrical break on the low side. So I'm just waiting. It's getting close. So it's 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch. This is potentially a 5th touch. I'm watching this with a lot of interest because I want to know if it's going to break create a symmetrical breakout on this side, or is it actually going to bounce off this support? If it bounces off this support, then I would probably extend potentially this channel to be wider. But I'm playing this blue one at the moment. It looks like it's going to bounce. So I have a first entry long pullback. I'm looking for a second entry long. Second entry long, this is good. But it could also flush down because I also had this red, this orange down channel. It was actually tighter, something closer to this drawn at the time. Let me correct it. So I had something like this. So I'm thinking, is there potential resistance? I better wait for a higher low. Plus, it's potentially running into EMA resistance. It flushes down. So first entry long pullback, second entry long, no trade here. Pushes down, breaks through. So I was playing with the idea that it might be some kind of red transparent channel at the time, but I don't think it's valid. So it's pushing down on this orange down channel. Break, continues down, pushes. So then I extend this. I widened up this orange down channel. So now it looks like it's two-tier channel where it was in the upper half of the tier and now it's on the lower half. Pushes down some more, breaks and pushes down to the low. Now it's entering the last 30 minutes and I didn't really take a trade. I tried to take a trade, but I have no trade and no real setup. Prices are very slow, even though the volume is high. Starting to reverse. It's a fail breakout on this side. I'm expecting a potential symmetrical fail breakout on this side and a potential move down to test the low of this orange. So it does kind of break. It's holding, so you only have a first entry short, technically a first entry long. Pull back, creating new highs. Technically have a second entry short, but it's far from everything, so I'm not really ready to take a short. I need a lower high to confirm. Pushes, sideways consolidation, finally presses down. New high, first entry long, pull back. Second entry long here was a bad signal bar, kind of bouncing out in the middle of nowhere. Plus, this is the last minute of the day. I'm not taking anything right here. Pushes into the close. So as you can see, prices are still, actually prices are stopped now. Trading is all done, even in the aftermarket. And it was kind of a, well, to be honest, kind of a boring day. It had potential, but unfortunately, nothing happened. The one trade that I did try to take and I missed, probably better that I did miss it, but at the time I thought it was a decent trade because it's a new low, first entry short, pullback, hidden second entry short, pretty much an EMA rejection. Looks like it could be rejecting off the top of this yellow down channel, and it could be testing a low. So it would have worked for 1 point scalp, but what kept me out of the trade was this previous bar didn't close at the low and it was greenish. So I wanted a clean break on this bar here. I wanted a clean break of this red bar below here before I entered the trade. And when it broke, it never came back. It pushed down, never came back to pick me up at the lows of this guy and one tick below as well. And when it made the 1 point scalp, then I knew I had to abandon the trade because I wasn't really ready to push for two on a day like this. And I knew there was some kind of support, I guess, square you could call it, because I wasn't sure if this is the high, excuse me, if this was the support or maybe this lower area was the support. But I knew this region was a potential bounce area. So kind of a lackluster day to end the week, but hopefully, well, I know next week I got to be extra careful on Monday and Tuesday because it's FOMC rate decision week. And usually the Monday and Tuesday, as I mentioned, are really slow. So hopefully that was helpful.